Ooh, happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Tonight it's a little bit different. Tonight we're going to talk about some unexplained things that we experienced in our youth. At one time, I was actually a believer in ghosts and stuff, and I was going to be a ghost hunter at one time. But then I started thinking a little bit more reasonably and rationally and figured out what these problems that I experienced actually were with the help of science. Duke, what are you doing, man?
I'm sorry, dude. Hold on one moment.
I don't know what the hell he's doing. Making something to eat, I guess.
This is maybe. This is what he's doing.
Anyway, so tonight I have with me, I got Duke Bonanza. I got Unholy Mole as well, but he's just had to jump in the car and drive someone somewhere real quick. And I got Grumpy Old Bugger, or No Sacred Cow, as he's also known as. So why don't we start with, well, Grumpy, you said you had kind of something that you could have passed off as some sort of an unexplainable thing.
Oh, it was kind of weird.
Yeah. So, let's start with you.
All right. Well, back in the early 80s, I was sent off to CFB Calgary to replace an MP who decided on one dark and stormy night to eat his brownie. Yeah, shot himself. Blew his head off. Yeah, on duty. Now, the weird thing is, CFB Calgary at the time was split into two bases. There was Curry Barracks, where I was, along with the PPSLI Service Battalion, and then there was Sarcee Barracks a little further away, which is where the Lower Strathcona Horse was, and where the rifle ranges were.
Yeah.
And there was an old, the Strats had an old officers club, which was disused, but we still had to check it out, make sure nobody was mucking around, because the Sarcee Reserve, the Indian Reserve, to get to the reserve from Calgary to the reserve, you had to go through the base, and every now and then some of the kids would go inside and screw around. So anyways, one day, I guess he decided he had enough, and he shot himself by the old officers club in Sarcee Barracks. And of course, that created a big stink. I wasn't there at the time. I was somewhere else. But after the events, after they cleaned up the car, they took the light bar off, and they turned it into an unmarked patrol car.
Mm-hmm.
And we were running, what, 78 Ford Fairmonts at the time, and they were crap to begin with. So we turned the car they suicided on into a proper ghost car. Now here's the weird thing. Hold on, I gotta turn this thing off because it's beating me in my ear. There we go. At night, at a certain time, if you drove that car into that area, the engine would die. And the car would just burn. Then the whole thing would just die. There'd be no electrics, no radio, no nothing. We had nothing. And I can't remember the guy's name, but you had to go, hey, fuck off, so-and-so. And then fire up, the car would fire up again. Don't ask me how. That's the weird one. That's the only weird one I think
it was like, what, like, was there something there that was causing this?
Well, we had no idea. I mean, when they retired the car, you know, that was the problem. That was gone. But in that car, at night, at the time when he committed suicide, you drove that car to Sarcee, the old Sarcee Officers Club, at night. At that time, the car would die. Just stop. There'd be no power. The radios were dead. The lights were dead. The engine was dead. It wouldn't even turn over. You had to say, fuck off so-and-so, and then fire up the engine. It'd start up again.
We have to say that before it would start.
You'd have to say that, yeah. Oh. I mean, I didn't believe it. And how she happened to me was, I got out of the car because the fucking thing's dead. All right, I got my portable, so I got out of the car. All right, that's working. So I call on the radio, my portable. Say, yeah, this is I need a recovery. Say, you in the unmarked car? I said, yeah. You the Sarcee Officer Club? Yeah. Say this. I said, you got to be joking. So I tried it. It worked. That's the weird one.
That is kind of weird. I wonder what it was, though.
I don't know.
Is there possibly some sort of electromagnetic interference in that area?
I don't think so. It's just the middle of the Alberta prairie. That's all I know.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing I have in my spook tale. I still think it's bullshit. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
You
let's be
know.
reasonable. It probably is.
Yeah,
Just saying that and having it start was probably somewhat coincidental.
you would
think.
hope. But
But
others, yeah, but others also had the same
Bermuda
problem. Yeah, but others reported the same thing. You know, like it was a common. You know, if you're in that car in that time at night and it dies, that's what you have to say.
Give me shivers.
Yeah. Well, we turned a patrol car, a ghost car, into a proper ghost car.
You do it proper. Well, you got stealth technology?
No. Well, you know what a ghost car is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an unmarked police car, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we turned a marked police car into a ghost car with a ghost.
Oh.
It was a proper ghost car. It was a proper ghost car.
Right on.
Yeah. Bizarre. Anyways, that's my story. Next.
All right, so Duke, take it away, buddy.
Right on.
Well,
Okay, so let's see. Hold on one second. All right, so my first one is it's actually my first, the very first time I ever had sleep paralysis.
Oh yeah.
So I went to sleep. I was totally by myself. Now here's the weirdest thing. Like I had a weird thing. I lived in a rough neighborhood, and my son was maybe 2 at the time. So I was funny about the doors. So I made sure all the doors were locked before I went to bed every damn night. So I had checked all the doors. I checked everything. I laid down and I went to sleep on the couch watching TV. And I woke up and I couldn't move at all. And I felt like there was this horrific, malevolent like presence over me. And I was just like, I've never been more terrified in my life. And after a while, it passed, and I sat up, and my back door was open.
Really?
Now, my son liked to wander around, which is probably what happened, but it was just a weird thing where it was like, there's no way I didn't check it, because I checked it every night like gangbusters, because we had a lot of break-ins in that neighborhood. And it was just the strangest, weirdest thing. So that's one of them. A weird happening that I had was when I worked maintenance. I got a call one time. It was New Year's Eve. I got a call about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the guy was like, I hooked my washing machine up and it's leaking everywhere. And I was like, that's not an emergency. I'm not coming out for that because it's not an emergency. And he got really belligerent about it, but I just stood my ground. I had a weird feeling about the guy. I didn't like the idea. And also, it just wasn't an emergency. Turn the spigot off. I'll be over there tomorrow. You know, the hose belongs to you. The washing machine belongs to you. Like if it's leaking, that's not my problem. It's your problem. And it's not an emergency. I'm not coming out, right? I get a call about 6 hours later. This same dude is in a standoff with the police. By the end of it, he dumped like almost 2,000 rounds of AR-15 into the parking lot. We had to evacuate the building. It was just monstrous. But it was just one of those things where it was just like, that guy just called me. Literally, like hours ago, the guy wanted me to come fix something for him. Like, now he's like trying to kill everybody in the SWAT team. He finally surrendered.
White, right?
Do what?
He was a white guy, right?
No, it was a black dude.
Oh, that's unusual.
It was a black dude.
He's lucky he lived.
He is lucky he lived.
Yeah.
And the last one, I was working in an apartment or a condo, better, in Litchfield, South Carolina. And I'd had like a weird feeling. It was a weird feeling the whole time I was working in there, like uneasy. You know what I mean? There was no reason for it. It would happen every once in a while. You're working in the middle of the night, You're in a vacant place. It gets a little creepy here.
We lose it.
I think the ghost got him.
Sorry. I got an incoming call and it screwed me. Sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Fuck.
Nice. Best stuff I've had all day. Thanks.
So was that it, or?
No, I think he's dealing with his phone.
Say, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry about that. I got an incoming call and it kicks me out every time. I wish there was some way to block incoming calls because nobody ever calls me. So I was in this apartment working all night long, and I had the weirdest feeling. And I went to leave, and I turned around to shut the door, and I saw something floating at me. I don't know what it was. It just like a shape, but it was like a woman's shape. And out of nowhere, it blinked out of existence. Like it was there for a second, and then it was gone. Right? I mean, we all know that. Like, you can just look at the mask, the rotating mask illusion, and know that your brain will fuck with you, given an opportunity. But it freaked me out, something weird. And the only other thing I could think of off the top of my head at the moment was after my mother died, I went to sleep, and I was laying in my bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night because I heard something, and I couldn't find anything, so I started to drift off to sleep, and I heard a voice in my head say very clearly, "I can bite you whenever I want."
Wait, what?
Kinky.
That's what I know, right? I'm telling you.
The dream come true.
I literally got the leather daddy stuff and was like, where are you at? Don't tip me with a good time, buddy.
Definitely.
But no, it was freaky. It was freaky because it's one of those things where I knew that was in my head also because I was like halfway between sleep and halfway between awake. And your brain does crazy shit to you when you're in that weird dream state where you're still dreaming, but you're partially awake. Your brain will do crazy shit to you.
Yeah,
in that
La La Land.
But it still hit me pretty hard. It probably wouldn't hit me so hard if my mother hadn't just died. But it was pretty freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of like haunted shit. Where like used to be people would be like, this place is haunted, let's go there. And I would, even as when I was a believer, I would be like, fuck that shit, we're going there. I'm pissing in every corner of this place. I'm gonna throw it out there and see if I can piss these spirits off because I want to see them.
You know, it's kind of funny you mentioned that. My grandmother told me a tale. My grandmother and grandfather, during the Second World War, he and his brother joined the Royal Navy. They were both on anti-submarine duty. And his Corvette went out one day and never came back. And before they got the notice that his ship was missing, my grandmother would hear him whistling coming up the drive, coming in for tea or whatever, right? The brother? Her husband's brother. You hear him whistling coming up the drive. And she'd look out and he's not there. And that's went about 2-3 days, and then they got the notice that his ship has gone missing and he's presumed dead. But they swear they could hear him whistling as he was walking up the drive.
Wow, weird.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I don't know, like that's hearsay, right? I got no evidence.
Have you guys ever did you guys ever look into the Reddit subreddit where the guy asked people to tell a horror story in 1 or 2 sentences?
I usually avoid Reddit. It's scary.
Trick-or-treat stacks.
Reddit is handy. Oh, hey, Mole's back.
Hey, Mole.
Yes, indeed, I am here. Sorry about that.
So, Duke, are you have any more there? Or?
What's that?
Do you have any other stories, or?
Not off the top of my head at the moment. Give me a little bit to think about it. But I was just wondering if you guys had ever looked into the 1 or 2 sentence horror stories that people write.
No.
Oh, are you like,
Oh,
like little tiny short creep pastas?
And then the next person carries
say that
on.
one more time.
Like the really short creepy pastas?
Yes. Only nobody
Like,
carries on.
just
It's like, all right. So an example of one is let me think if I can get it right. It
Are you
would
talking about the one
be
where everyone writes a line to complete it?
no. It's literally like nope. It's literally like a horror story in X number of words.
I know what you're talking about. And then he walked into a room and the window was open. There should have been no reason the window was open. That kind of thing.
That kind of thing, but there's some people that actually scare the shit out of you with them. Like one of them was it's so cold and dark. Had I realized it would be like this, I would have been cremated.
Oh, okay. I got that. That is a cool one. That is pretty creepy. I gotta when I was I think it was right around my 22nd birthday. I was at a local bar that I used to frequent because it was kind of like a dive. Like you could go in the back room and smoke hitters and shit. No one would say anything to you. You know, there are people back there doing lines, whatever. And one night we were there drinking, and a friend of mine from high school's mom was there. She just recently got divorced, and she was drinking with these 2 guys. They weren't from around where I live. You know, they were strangers, and I mean, I wouldn't say they were extremely weird, but there was, you know, something about them that wasn't right. I played pool a couple games like doubles, you know, in pool with them, and the next day, no one could find the lady. A day later, they found her corpse inside of in the canal. With so it happened that night. We were all out drinking. Like they said, it looks like she'd been dead about 2 days. That would coincide with. So like, I was in a bar drinking with a serial killer and his last victim. Well, I don't know if it was his last victim, but I think it was his last victim because he got caught. If you ever want to look him up, his name was Arlie Ray Davis.
Wow,
crazy
in Illinois. Yeah, but I played a game of pool with a serial killer.
The funny thing about that is, I'm curious, like how many people that everybody we know has met,
right?
That has been like that, because you never know.
I mean, you meet people all the time. You think, ooh, they're weird. You know, like there's something weird about that person, but you can never put your finger on it. But like, I mean, it wasn't nothing. Like I said, it wasn't nothing totally out of the ordinary. He was just a creep. I mean, let's put it that way. That was kind of about he was a creep. And then, like I said, like we were playing pool, and then 2 days later, my friend's mom's found in a canal. You know, I mean, we weren't good friends, but we were like pretty close in high school. You know, so I mean, it's not like I didn't know her. You know, so that was strange. That was definitely very, very strange. Well, I got another. And I worked in a hospital too, but I'll wait if someone else wants to tell another story first.
No. You go ahead, man.
This is okay. You know how I used to work in a hospital. It was like 100-year-old hospital. It was built in like I don't know, like 1903 or some shit like that. No, I meant 100 years. But it was built like 1903 or whatnot. And we had an old lady in there, and she was terminally ill. And she was I don't know any nice way to put it. She was kind of a bitch, you know, like no one wanted to be in a room with her. So we put her in a room by herself, a little further away from the nurse's station. And all night long, she kept turning the call light on and saying, "There's someone in my room with me." I'm like, and I'd be like, "Ma'am, you're the only one in here. There's no, just try to get some sleep. Try to get some sleep." And like we have to check vitals depending on what patient it is. Either usually once a shift, twice a shift, or every 4 hours, which would be 3 times a shift because we work 12s. Okay, and
Can I ask you a question?
so, yeah, go ahead.
Were you a nurse or were you in tele?
I was a nursing assistant, certified nurse's aide, and I was
Okay,
on the
cool.
I was on the code team. So I mean, I was a CNA with a little bit further training into like EMT type stuff. So I could be on the code team, like I could bag and all that stuff.
Cool.
But but anyway, so she kept like everybody would like everybody take turns. They go down, and every time it was the same thing. There's someone in my room. Well, I didn't see it personally, but another lady went down there and she's like, "There's someone in my room," and the lady seemed like a shadow. You know how there's pull curtains across the beds, in between the beds or whatnot. She looked, and she said she did. She turned around. She did see a shadow, like someone was standing there, but she didn't see any feet underneath the curtain, like she should have. Well, so that's strange enough. It's weird. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it was anything ghostly. I just, it's an old hospital. People spook. It gets weird. But the weirdest thing about that night was the last time someone went to get vitals on the lady, they found the lady dead in her room. Like, but the entire night she was saying someone was in their room. They're here to get me. They're gonna hurt me. And you don't take stuff like that seriously. Old people tell I mean, I've worked in nursing for 18 years. Sometimes they get spooked, or maybe their mind isn't all there. But weirdly enough, she ended up dying that night. Now, I mean, yes, she was terminally ill, but I mean, just in conjunction with, there's someone in my room here, they're going to get me all night long, and then she ends up dying. That was a little bit weird. That was really weird.
Coincidence of that.
Yeah.
It's a little strange, but first off, one, I would say that people were primed. Like, if you prime yourself to see something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. It's easy to spook yourself. You already know you're in a very, very old hospital. So God knows how many people have died in it. So you already have that in the back of your head. So it's real easy to trick yourself into thinking things are there, I don't,
sure.
like I said, I doubt it was a ghost. But, I mean, just the situation alone was weird enough,
It is strange. It is strange. I've worked with a lot of older people just doing apartment maintenance, and I've had to go deal with them for 2 hours at a time. It's nothing really broken, but they're just lonely. So they would call in and say that my heat's not working, and then I would show up and I would spend 2 hours talking to them because they didn't have anybody.
Right.
And I've had a number of people that would just tell me all these crazy stories about things they'd seen. Like there's somebody in my room when I sleep at night, stuff like that. And I've always just considered it likely that if you know you're going soon, especially if you're terminal, like you've primed yourself to have this experience, and it's likely that you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I wouldn't have any problem accepting anything on evidence, but considering that, like, I would think that in this day and age, with the kind of surveillance equipment that we have and the sheer number of people that are trying to see something, that we would have something conclusive by now.
Yeah,
if there were anything conclusive to have, that's the strange thing for me.
I worked at this hospital for a long time, and I worked third shift, and there was this one hallway that the nurses said they always heard footsteps down, and it was like an older wing that no one ever went down. It was like mostly used. They used it for storage. They didn't use it for patient rooms anymore. I never seen anything creepy or weird. I mean, it was of course it was creepy. It was an old fucking dilapidated part of the hospital, but everybody was like, "Oh, there's footsteps down there." They're like, I seen a nurse wearing an old. I never seen nothing like that. I don't believe in ghosts personally, but you know, I mean, but like what I know what you're saying, Duke, that if they're ready to die, they can prime themselves, you know, like, but it's also easy to spook, like when you're working though, like coworkers, like, I mean, it's easy for panic to set into a group quite quickly, to be honest, or to put in images in your head where you expect it, you know what I mean? Like, so like they trick themselves into seeing stuff, you know, that kind of thing.
Right. Right. Well, that was the point I was making, was that like if this lady's been calling up all night long, there's somebody in my room, there's somebody in my room, there's somebody in my room. It's priming everybody to expect something, and your mind will show you crazy shit.
Oh yeah.
It'll just do it. Like the thing that people don't like think about a lot of times when they think about paranormal activity is that everything that you sense, whether it's something you see or smell or hear, is your brain interpreting things that happen in the real world, right? So your brain can interpret shit in a crazy way and make you see, hear, or smell things that aren't fucking there. Like you can have, if you're having a stroke, you smell burnt toast. If you're having, you know what I mean? Like your brain will do crazy shit to you. Like, I'm pretty sure that if they could figure out a way to stimulate the brain in just the right way, they could make you experience anything they wanted.
They could. It's already been done. They've wired the brain with electrodes to stimulate various centers. They've been able to induce orgasms, fear, happiness, hunger, the whole gamut of all the emotions and everything that you can experience in your in life. With the right stimulation, they can do it with. They've done it.
Oh yeah.
Now, as to going back to the old lady who's fearing death, or seeing people in her room, she was most likely raised religious.
Oh yeah,
It was told about.
We rarely got.
Yeah, but we
rarely got atheists in the hospital.
But she was also probably taught about the angel of death and all that, and she knew she was terminal. She's afraid of dying, and she's seeing it. And the human being, the human brain, especially when it starts to die, starts to send out really weird ass signals. You know, like you say, we were on that La La Land. Now,
but it's also, what is it? It's the same chemical that's used to hallucinate. It's was it diotryptamine, the chemical that you use in ayahuasca ceremonies.
Yeah, something like that. But when my father was dying, I was there for his last week, right? And there were times, most of the times, he was blasted out of it. He was blasted out on morphine, so he wasn't really cohesive or coherent. But when he was, or sometimes when he was semi-lucid, he was flashing back to things that had never happened or things that had happened years ago, and he's having conversations with people who are long since dead. But it's his brain is saying, you know, he sees it in his brain. And when I brought it up with the home care nurse that came in every day just to check him over, she said, "Well, that's not unusual. When people get to that stage of death or that stage of life, it's not unusual for them to start doing things like that. And if you're not, it's quite possible that he may even get up and walk out the door and carry on a conversation thinking he's going out with his mates, his friends from childhood." She told us that she had cases where terminally ill people gotten up without anybody watching, without anybody noticing, going for a walk, and they're found walking through walking to the neighborhood, having a conversation with long dead relatives and friends. Their brain, or their mind, is, you know, just showing them these images. So yeah, that's. Can
I bring up a subject real quick that I think is connected, but I'm interested in just hearing you guys' opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
Near-death experiences.
Same deal. Brain playing games with you.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's one of the things that's brought up regularly by theists to explain that there's an afterlife, right? Yeah. But one of the things I've figured out and learned during my my study of this, which is limited to say the least, but is that pilots, both in planes and in the high G simulator, have typical, like similar experiences to what people have when they're on the operating table and whatnot.
Yeah. I don't. I've had 2 near-death experiences. You guys know I'm a recovered heroin addict, so I've died twice. I've been clinically dead twice. The clinical death is when your heart stopped. Your brain's still working, but your heart is stopped.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I see no white tunnel. I see no white light. It was just like 1 minute I was here, the next minute I wasn't, and then I was back again. It was that fast. Like it was just like someone totally switched the light off. I wasn't neither here nor there. And then next thing you know, I woke up in the back of an ambulance and I was like, what the fuck happened? You know, like, so, I mean, that's as near as death as you're going to get. I mean, and I had nothing strange about it. I mean, it's weird being woke up from it, but I didn't see any tunnels or no one told me to go anywhere or it's not your time, go back, nothing like that at all. So I don't know.
Right.
I just wonder, like you said, like if, or like he said, if you're raised religiously, you know, you already have an image in your head what to expect. So maybe since I'm an atheist and pretty much always have been, I just, you know, when I died, it was just, you know, black.
Game over, son. Game over,
You know?
dude.
You know,
That's interesting though, because like the crazy thing about that is that when I watched the documentary on it, there was one guy that became an atheist because of that. He was a hardcore Christian, and he was dead for something like 23 minutes before they brought him back, or some crazy amount of time.
Oh, that's a really long time.
His heart stopped for a very long time. I don't remember exactly how long.
After 5 minutes, you start to get you have a possibility of brain damage. 10 minutes and up, you're in the brain for sure brain damage territory. Yep. Anything over that, you're pretty screwed if you don't get that vaccine.
Actually, there's a caveat to that. There is a caveat to that.
There are. I mean, if it depends on the there are temperature. Yes, if your body temperature lowers enough.
Yeah, if your temperature your core temperature goes down low enough, you can offset the damage to brain damage and all the rest.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it slows the process down tremendously.
Right.
Anyways. Carry on.
Well, let's just put it this way. I'm speaking from memory from a documentary I watched 2 years ago. Yeah. So it could be 23 minutes. It could be 13 minutes. I don't know, but it was a long time to not have your heart working. And he was brought back, and he became an atheist afterwards because he said the same thing you said. It was like somebody just turned a light switch off. He was just gone, and then he came back. But then there are other people that have these crazy. Some people have the tunnel. Some people have other experiences. Some people float above their body and see the room. They see weird shit, right? But when I was looking into it, like pilots that go into the high G simulator, and then pilots who just have had loss of consciousness due to high Gs up near the upper atmosphere, will give all different kinds of accounts of weird shit. Like one guy was like, in his brain, he was floating around a grocery store shopping.
Are you talking about hypoxia? Oxygen starvation? Are you talking about hypoxia, the oxygen starvation?
Yes, lack of oxygen in the brain.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
that is. And pilots are trained for that, and they do actually starve them for, especially military pilots. They are trained to recognize it.
Right, and it happens both when they're flying, and it also can happen in the high G simulator. Like that thing you get in, it spins you around in a circle really fast.
Yep.
Like guys that get into the high G simulator regularly experience this same phenomenon where they'll see either the tunnel with a light and their family members telling them to go back or whatever. But
I know I know the experiences their vision will contract when you were in high G. I used to fly. So when you have high Gs, negative Gs, positive Gs, your blood is forced down to your feet. your vision will gray out, and then you'll start to tunnel vision. And then all you'll have is maybe a light, and then you're out, and then you're back up again. Once the G's are cut off, the recovery is almost instantaneous.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that why they wear the flight suits with the
exactly
to keep some of the blood in the extremities?
Squeeze the blood up and keep it up as high as you can, and you grunt and fart like you're trying to pass a. It's like you're trying to. It sounds like you're constipated and you're trying to pass a 10-pound brick.
So that's why.
I'll find a better explain it to me.
So that's why, like, astronauts and fighter pilots have such extensive training, so they know what to do in a situation like that.
Yeah,
the G's they can handle them.
Well, not just the G's.
Yes,
the hypoxia is something different. But
the experience.
Yeah.
The experience of the high G simulator is very similar to the experience of people who have lost oxygen to their brain due to near-death experiences.
Because
it's absolutely
they're losing blood pressure and air. The blood is coming out of their head. They are losing blood out of their head. That means there's no oxygen. So they shut down and they go into la la land.
Right. So, like, this is one of the big things that, like, Max Kolbe likes to bring up. Like, that he has people that are trained in near-death experiences, right? Which is bullshit, because the guy he brings up is not trained in fucking anything. Like, his degree's in something totally different, and then he just happened to have near-death experiences like a pet hobby, right? But that was the point I was bringing up earlier with, like when you die, the brain releases, I cannot remember the name of the chemical, but it's dimethylamine or something.
Are you talking about DMT? Are you talking about DMT?
Yes, DMT. Your brain releases that naturally, right? It's seen kind of probably as a last defense, as a way of easing your passing or your brain looking out for itself or whatever it is. But this happens in both pilots and in people that are dying. So the interesting thing to me is like, if this is proof that you have a soul, why does it happen to people who are in no danger of death?
Right.
Why is it that people who are like, especially, I mean, obviously people who are in a plane are in danger of death, because if they don't get it together, they're going to crash their plane. But if you're strapped into a high G simulator, you're not really in any danger of death, and yet this still happens, right? So it would seem to me like that would, like, the explanation for that would be that this is a natural phenomenon of the brain.
It would be natural. Actually, DMT, the drug, if you like were to ingest it, like the ayahuasca's got other things in it, but the most potent ingredient is DMT. It actually makes your brain think it's dying. That's why you get that. I think that's where the feeling you were talking about. I think that's where that may play into it, because DMT itself makes the brain feel like it's dying.
I think I'll stay away from that shit. Thank you.
I've actually been tempted to give it a shot. I mean, I haven't done any kind of, like, illicit drug outside of, like, I smoke pot here and there. I don't anymore because of my jobs. But I haven't done any form of illicit drug for 20 years or so. But hearing, like, Joe Rogan talk about it, and the people that have talked about it, I've actually been tempted to give. Huh?
You're an ex-addict, aren't you?
Yes.
Don't try it.
I'm an ex-addict. Yeah.
I was going to say, don't try it.
I didn't know if you were too. I've already tried everything on this one.
No, I'm just saying.
No. I've tried it all too. I mean, actually, Mo, you and I and Stags did that stream where we talked about having been recovered. And I'm 40 now, and I've been recovered since I was 20.
I wish I could say the same. It wasn't quite that long, but still, 5 years.
But I mean, my recovery is not like, I would say it's a different deal, because I never had a problem not taking psychedelics. There was never a point where I was like, I have to have psychedelics. I enjoyed
it though. I mean,
Yeah, for
But
me
no,
it was
I
cocaine
never-
and crank.
Yeah, well, I like
Yeah,
being
I interrupt you guys.
out of my head. So, anybody else got any cool, spooky stories?
Oh, fuck
Yeah, do it.
I don't have. I'm asking anybody else.
Oh, I haven't told any of mine yet. So
No, you haven't, have
Tell
you?
your
Oh my
tell
God!
your stories, Neil.
Frightening. That's frightening. Put the mask back on.
yeah.
Oh, shut up, Grumpy. Everybody knows that Neil's handsome as fuck. Look at that jawline.
I have to look at that tomorrow. I have to look at that while trying to choke down raw fish.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not Neil's. It's not Neil's fault. He has a jawline like Superman.
I don't have a fucking jawline like Superman.
Yes,
Right
you
now,
do.
can't
God damn it.
I'm all fuzzy and unshaven.
You
And
are.
handsome.
Tell me what you get. You want to get your knickers, Neil. Be careful.
Yeah, last night I thought I was meeting Grumpy for sushi last night. So I show up there and I'm waiting and I'm sitting in there and I've already ordered a bunch of shit. And I'm like, fuck, that's right. It's not till Thursday. So I'm talking to the manager, Jack, and I'm like, dude, can I pay extra and bring the rest of this home with me? Because I ordered way too much. And he's like, yeah. So, but you can't actually, normally they don't let you take food home because if you leave food, they'll still charge you. So that's why.
Well, I saw your tweet saying, blah, blah, and I thought, okay, cool. He's talking about, why is he talking about it today? Then it dawned on me, I thought, you're not there, are you?
Yeah.
It's Thursday, not Friday. Remember? You said Thursday. I didn't say Thursday. You said Thursday.
Yeah, I know. But I was an idiot.
I could have driven down there. Not a problem.
Oh, I know. But fuck, dude. I was already there and already ordered. It was like, nah, you got your whatever you were having, pork chops or whatever. So
I had some pork chops.
Nice. Anyway, so I used to live in a house that was back in the day it was a railway stopover. And according to the lore, I never really looked it up or anything like that, but according to the lore, there were a couple of people that were murdered in that house. Just a couple of the people that worked on the trains apparently were killed there. So when I moved in, there was already some friends of mine living there, and they were telling me all these stories about, oh yeah, man, cupboard doors fly open, or if you're about to walk into a room, a door shut in front of you, and people always see this weird, spooky thing going up and down the stairs. So I actually lived in the top, and I remember lying in bed one night with my friend's dog that was sleeping beside me. His name was Matches, and all of a sudden the dog starts growling, and I'm reading one of my comic books, probably either Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or X-Men or something. And I'm reading my comics and I'm like, fuck, what's wrong with you, Matches? And he's looking up into the corner of the room kind of thing, growling and barking. And I look up there and there's this weird bluish, hazy looking weird thing just floating there. And then it went out the door. And I thought, okay, what the hell? And right away I thought that's got to be some kind of an apparition or something. Well, most likely it was fucking headlights from a vehicle coming around the corner because we were right on the corner. So it probably got in this, you know how when they turn it'll stay and then when they start to move it'll move.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more than likely what it was because obviously I don't believe in ghosts anymore either. But yeah, so the dog was growling and I think he just saw it too and was growling at it because it's usually pretty pitch black other than the light that I was using to read. But at the same time, here's the kind of the weird part. At the same time, with the dog barking, no big deal. But I kind of figured it out afterwards. But at the bottom of the stairs is in like a kind of up off to the side of the stairs is a little area where the cats they have a little cat bed there, and two of them used to sleep there. Well, right after this thing went out the door, so to speak, they started hissing. So I think it was the dog that scared them, and then they saw this light and they started freaking out. So, because I went downstairs and there was nothing, and the only other time that anything weird that I experienced in that house was I was doing the dishes, and well, I got to let you know something beforehand.
the power in that place wasn't always dependable. So just outside the kitchen they had this big ass fucking like 1912 gas generator thing that if the power goes out, it was set up to automatically kick on. And this was during the day, so I didn't really think about it because we didn't have lights on. It was bright out. It was the middle of summer, and I'm doing dishes, and somebody came into the house. Hey, what's going on? And right when they came into the house, one of the cupboard doors opened up, and 2 plates fell out of there, almost like they jumped, but not really. Well, at that moment, the generator had kicked on, and that always shakes the side of the house, so it's not surprising. And apparently there's a square on the floor that if you step on it just right, that cupboard door will pop open. No problem. We didn't know that weird. At the time. So we didn't know that. Yeah, it was all coincidental timing. I didn't even know about any of that shit at the time. So later on, when we kind of figured it all out, we put it to the test. And sure as shit, you open it up, and the cupboard door pops open. And if the cupboard door's open and you've got something sitting beside it, vibrates pretty good, and something will fall out of that cupboard, no problem. So, but at the time, it freaked me out, man. I was like, I don't want to be in this house right now. The only other thing that ever happened in there is the TV would fucking come on, like all the time in the middle of the night. It would just come on. But turns out, after an electrician about a month later came in there was some kind of a short, and every time the generator would kick in, and it would kick in sometimes even if the power didn't go out. It was rare, but it happened. That's usually what started up the TV. So there's some weird power surge and shit that would fire it up.
That's strange. I have actually, after listening to you guys talk, I thought of something that, one, I don't have an explanation for. Like, I've never been able to explain it. And 2, it is a bit spooky. So my brother was heavy into like black metal and death metal when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And we grew up in like a 3-bedroom single wide trailer. And I lived in that trailer a good portion of my life. And none of us ever talked about it. But the room he stayed in was the middle room. And all of my childhood, up until I was an adult, when I would walk past that room, if the door was closed, I would walk up to the door, grab the handle, walk past it, and when I got past it, I'd let the handle go. And I never could explain why, but for some strange fucking reason, whenever I would pass that door to that bedroom, I would get like filled with dread. And then, like years later, we were talking about it, and my dad was like, the middle bedroom to our trailer had demons in it. Now, I don't believe that it did, but he would say that. But he literally said, every time I've ever walked past that door, I had to grab the handle.
Wow.
And I was like, so did I. What the fuck's going on there? You know?
This is when you were a kid. This is when you were a kid, right?
It's from when I was a little kid,
okay,
all the way up.
In hindsight, do you think you could have heard your dad say he grabbed the handle, or maybe observed it, and then you started doing it? That's why you both ended up doing it, and you just don't remember why you started doing it in the first place?
That's always a possibility, but I have no memory of that ever. Like, it is entire. When it came up, it was entirely like coincident. It seemed entirely coincidental at the time.
Right.
I'm not saying this. I'm not saying there were demons in the room. There's no God. There's no demons.
I know you're not saying that.
But it was just a weird phenomenon, because after he said it, I said it, and then everybody in my family was like, yeah, I do the same fucking thing. There's something about that room that gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't like it.
That's a beautiful mask.
Hey, Grumpy, I didn't know you were a juggalo.
Give me a kiss.
Do you paint your junk up to match?
I got a great felt cowboy or old like old miner type hat I would wear, but I'd be nowhere I could wear my headset if I put it on. So
yeah, that's why I'm not wearing my headset tonight. I just fucking let her come through the regular speakers.
Right.
Yeah,
I decided
I don't have speakers. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna wear the hat and the shirt.
At least you're putting the shirt on today. That's a plus.
Yeah. Well, what? I was wearing my sexy bikini earlier.
Yeah, I missed that.
Thankfully.
Right.
There are some things I don't want to see. That's high up on the list.
Thank goodness for small favors, huh?
You got her. Oh, that's better. I can see again. So we had a few real spooky tales today. Not many.
Spooky.
Yeah, anyone who got, I think the only other one I could think of, it's not really a ghost story, but we used to go out to the dike in Richmond, right at the end of number 3 road.
I knew her well.
Yeah. And we'd sit out there and we'd smoke doobies and tell stories and stuff like that. Just, it's middle of the night, 3 in the morning or whatever. And we're all sitting out there one day, and all of a sudden, this, I don't know if it was like a dwarf or midget of some sort, but it was the middle of summer. So this thing is running around behind the car in this field behind us, and all it has on is like diapers. and it's running around in the growling at nothing. We're like, what the fuck is this shit going on here? Well, I think it might have been the very good weed, but but there was 4 of us in the car. So. Well, there were 4 of us there, and we all saw it. So it was like,
you all thought you saw it. It could be
really weird. It's like a gigantic baby running around in the field. It was just creepy.
That would be strange. Duke, I got a question for you. You live in Florida, right?
Yes.
Have you ever witnessed to anybody on that fucking weird flock of shit?
Yes.
Oh my god!
I work in a hospital. I didn't even. Not only have I seen Flocka, I've seen like the next generation, like what's coming next, where they're taking what is? Hold on, they're taking bath salts and they're mixing it with what is the name of that fentanyl? They're taking bath salts and they're mixing it with fentanyl, and there's either
like speedballs. I mean, because bath salts like speed.
That'll fucking kill you.
Fentanyl, you don't want to fuck around with fentanyl. You can OD quick. You can fentanyl is so potent. You know how most drugs are handed out in milligrams. Fentanyl is so potent. It comes in micrograms, and like 50 micrograms is like 3 days worth of meds.
Yep. Fentanyl is
fentanyl ain't a joke, dude.
So I give me just 1 second. I'm answering a text to a beautiful lady I'm talking to. So, all right. The lady in question, I've had Flocka patients a number of times. Most of the time, they're doped the fuck up with something else by the time they get in. But this lady came in, and she had been taking this shit I'm talking about, which is basically bath salts mixed with fentanyl, and then they boil it down, and then they cook it. Yeah, they cook it, and then they either snort it or they smoke it.
Okay.
And this woman was, the way I explained it was, she was so high that she was existing on 2 different planes of existence at the same time. Like, up until that point, up until that exact night, I would have told you I've seen people as high as they can get. And I was wrong.
She had to prove you wrong.
She proved me fucking wrong. This woman came in. I'm pretty sure that if we would have been able to record her conversation and play it back through a computer algorithm, we would know the basis of reality and the universe and everything involved. Like, she was that high. She came in and she was just deaf. She was just deaf poetry slamming all night long for like 6 hours straight, just nonstop. Watermelon. What's it for? I like to get down on the floor. I like to get down on the floor. Like non-stop.
It's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it is funny at the same time. You know, I mean, I've worked on a psyche before, so it was
hilarious,
funny.
dude.
But so, what do they do? What do they do for flock patients? Do they just give them like sedatives until they calm down and keep them like isolated until they come down?
They don't give them anything. They didn't give her anything. They strapped her to a bed and let her sweat it out because.
It out.
It depends because, like, all right. So the funny thing about commercial, like the commercial is the wrong word.
Those designer
drugs. Yeah. The designer drugs is like drugs are scheduled by their molecular structure.
And they don't know what drugs would interact in what ways because they're really not sure what the chemical compounds of the drugs are. It's not like it's
correct,
like cocaine or heroin. It's fucking. They have no idea what they're dealing with.
Right, because the drugs are actually scheduled by their molecular structure. So if you change one molecule in the structure, it's no longer illegal technically, right? That's how they get past that.
Shit. You know that K2 shit, that fake weed stuff? That stuff is, I've seen people that smoke that stuff, they're worse than heroin addicts, dude. If they don't smoke it every couple hours, dude, they get dope sick. They're throwing up shit just like a heroin addict with a terrorist thing. It's crazy, dude. I don't know.
More like a cigarette addict.
Because they don't know exactly how anything they give them will interact with what they've had, and they can't, especially considering the fact that the person, like, if somebody comes to the ER and they can't even tell you what they're on because they're so high, you can't give them anything because you have no idea what's going to happen.
You just got to try to isolate them, keep them from harming themselves or others. That's all you can do, really.
More or less, and that's what they did with her. They strapped her to the bed and they waited for her to sober up.
Yeah, I worked in an ER before. I know. I've never had to deal with anybody on Flocka. I live in the Midwest, so thankfully nothing like that's ever came here. But well, I mean, that I know of. I mean, I've been out of the game for some years now, so who's to say it hasn't been around? But I've never seen it or heard of it. Yeah, that stuff's I've seen videos of people on that stuff, and like, from someone that has enjoyed doing drugs their whole life, I don't see what they get out of that. I mean, it's fucking, they act weird as fuck, dude. Oh my god, like,
that's the same thing with ketamine. I've never understood why anybody would want to do ketamine or Rohypnol. Like, to me, if you get so fucked up you don't have any memory of the night, what's the point?
Some people, you know how addicts are. They want to deaden the pain. So the less they can think, the better. You know, that kind of might be where, why they're doing it. I don't know, but
perhaps I think with those drugs in particular, because like your average addict wants to deaden the pain, but they do so in a way that they can comprehend and they understand that they can.
Right. I get what you're saying. Like, I don't know. I don't know why anybody. That's
like a heroin addict. Well, I think what it is that somebody comes along and says, "Let's get high. I've got this shit."
And they're like, "Okay, I'll try it."
And the next thing you know, they're running down the street butt fucking naked, jumping through fucking cars. I mean,
sounds like a good time, man. Sounds like a good time.
I mean, the road rash brings me back. I don't know. But drugs are a weird thing anyways. Like, for the most part, I am 100% pro decriminalization of drugs. Right. But, like, I will never be pro Flocka. Ever. Right? Because there's a difference. There's a difference between saying, okay, if you want to get high, you can get high. And there's another difference between saying, if you take this drug, there's a really good chance that you're going to hurt people. Because even if it's just yourself, like if you're a guy running down the street butt naked, jumping into the fucking windows of cars, you can hurt a lot of people. You know,
or you can get shot by the cops, or who knows what could happen. You know, you really don't know.
Well, yeah, you don't know. You could get shot by the cops, but
I'm not trying to stir up anti-Muslim sentiment, but I did hear about a bus down in Texas somewhere where they caught a pretty high up level K2 ring. You know, they make that fake weed shit, and oddly enough, 14 there was 14 suspects caught, and every one of them had an Arabic name. I wonder if because, you know, Muslims don't believe in doing drugs, or they're not supposed to believe in doing drugs and drinking. But do you think that could be a form of jihad?
Hey, you know what? Let's stir up some anti-Muslim sentiment. I'm down. Maybe I'm the only one of the group, but I'm totally for it. Let's stir up some anti-Islam.
No, I don't care either way, but I mean, isn't that kind of a weird coincidence that, like, you know, this drug, fucking the people associated with it all have Arabic names, you know?
It's really not a weird coincidence, considering that the number one cash crop as far as I know out of Afghanistan is opioids.
It's opioids. I mean, but where does K2 come into the picture? I mean, we don't even know what the fuck it is. It's just some plant material with fucking crazy like chemicals sprayed on it. You know?
I think that here's the thing. I think that the jihadists will do whatever they have to do to fund their war, and I think that that's backed, as far as I understand, it's backed by the Quran, in the sense that the Quran says it's okay to lie and do whatever, as long as you're doing it for the purpose of jihad.
Yeah, and the Bible says the same thing in more than one place. So what the hell? Not surprising they come with the same source material.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yep. Yeah. You know, I mean, the same thing in the Torah.
Right. Because there's so many forms of jihad. I mean, they have... Oh, go ahead, Duke.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that there isn't just like jihad where they fight an actual war. They have like friendly jihads where they it's okay for them to lie and get in with the infidels. They can fight them in that way. Or, you know, there's literary jihads. There's any way that they can bring down the infidel scum is okay with them. You know.
Yeah. The overall mission of Islam is to conquer everything until everything is Islam. That is Islam.
You're either the Muslim or you're a kafir, or is that what it's called, a kafir?
No,
like one of their servants or slaves.
Yeah,
kafir.
I thought. Yeah, kafir is what the kafir. I want to say kafir was the word used to describe Africans by the apartheid.
That's kafir.
Okay, so it's kafir.
Yeah, kafir is. No, it's a South African term for black.
Okay. I just wasn't sure. But the Muslims have slaves all the time. They're kafirs, you say? If you're a non-Muslim, but they'll accept you because you're pretty much...
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Go away.
We can hear you.
Yes. Sweet. Finally. God damn it.
But the thing is,
barely.
There's one thing to go on about the Muslims. Yeah, they're a pain in the ass to use it. But where do they get their ideas from? Christianity, and before that, Judaism. You can find the same concepts in the Torah and in the Bible. And basically, the whole thing is we're going to take over the world and control it, and they're our God. So when people go on this anti-Islam kick, I get kind of annoyed because I'm saying, yeah, we're not holier than thou. We have our own, we have our own blemishes.
Yeah, well, we have our own blemishes, all right. We have our own blemishes, but at least with Christianity and Judaism, it's been stepped back to the point where, for the most part, in most Western civilizations, it's not outwardly violent. I mean,
I'll stop you right now. The only reason why that is so is because a lot of us have walked away from it, and two, we told them that they can't. Now, if they had a chance, let's face it. You look at the evangelicals. You look at the evangelicals in the U.S. You not think that if they could do what Islam does, they wouldn't? Would they not?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
They not, no, there's no difference. There's absolutely fuck all
This
difference.
isn't a touchy subject I walked into at all.
They would, but there's not huge swaths of the fucking left trying to legitimize what they're doing. Like we've got those two at least partially under control. Look, I'm not saying that there isn't a problem with Christianity and Judaism, but what I will say is that there's a gradient of fucking danger involved with these three religions, and as of right now, Islam is the most dangerous of the three.
Yes.
To us in North America, bullshit. The odds of Islam doing any damage to us is negligible. They may blow up a few buildings, they may make some dumbass attacks. But our biggest threat to having a theocratical government forced upon us comes not from Islam, not from Judaism, but from bloody evangelical Christianity. That's the big threat to our way of life. I'm not saying that Islam isn't dangerous. I'd say they're all fucking dangerous. But personally, here in North America, the biggest threat we have from religious extremists are those we have been here ever since. It's Christianity, evangelical Christianity. I mean, look at them. They pretty much captured the U.S. Supreme Court. No? They have.
Yeah, obviously.
And they also have a huge hole within the body politic down there. You cannot get an elected dog catcher in the U.S. unless you can say you're Christian.
Right.
You get the odd Jew gets elected, but the majority of the people who get elected are evangelical Christians. You have to proclaim if Donald Trump says I'm an atheist, which he most likely is, you think evangelicals would have supported him? No, he would never got elected. No.
Okay, all right. But I'm not talking about just North America. I said the West in general.
No.
So if you look at the West in general, if you look at Europe right now, the problem in Europe is not Christianity.
Oh no, the problem in Europe is that they're not too sure what they're trying to do. Now they do have an issue with some Islam. There's no two ways about that. I'm English.
Some.
I know.
Yeah, they have a fuck ton.
I know how bad it can be, but they still cannot. Islam is too busy trying to cut its own throat in the Middle East. That's where most of the threat is, down there.
It's the fastest growing religion in the world.
Yeah, and it's going to keep on expanding.
It's the fastest.
What he's saying though is there's a chance of all these crazy evangelicals getting into power in America. It's not that far fetched. Look how much they're trying to push laws in America. There's already crazy evangelicals in the Senate and in the House. You know, we got to worry about them kind of people. Like they're trying to break down the divide between church and state.
Exactly.
That's what we got to worry about.
You will have the American Taliban with the cross within 20 years if you're not careful.
Right.
So, you guys,
and of course, Islam is a threat in Europe, but not as much as people like to make it out to be. It's bad, but it's not that bad.
It's a huge threat in Europe.
No, not as bad as they like to make it out to be. It's a whipping.
The grooming gangs in Britain,
Oh yeah, they were horrible. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no.
But if you look at the right wing radical gangs like UKIP and stuff in the UK or UK First, they're just as bad, and they're just as dumb. Many of them. If anything, there'll be a bloody war between them, and there'll be a street war, civil war.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I
would consider them groomers more criminals than I would anything religious. They're fucking like into like sex trafficking shit like that, right?
yeah. Hey, guys.
Yeah. Anyways,
Neil's trying to talk.
When does this happen?
Hello?
I got comments right now saying they came for ghost stories and now they're hearing about this stuff.
Let's get going.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Another stream. Grumpy and I will cross swords on another stream. It's fine.
I'm bringing machete.
There you go.
I'm bringing a machete.
That's fine. I bring a machine gun. It's good. We'll throw it out another time. But it's an interesting conversation I'd like to have sometime.
Can we discuss what do we think makes religious folks feel that they're possessed? That's kind of spooky.
Well, we haven't heard. Tada just joined.
Tada, yeah, tell us a ghost story, brother.
I just came in because I saw the link. I don't have any ghost stories. I was bored.
You didn't read the rules above the link, did you?
I did, and then I was like, I'm above the goddamn rules. I'm a goddamn bored.
I am Billy from VenderTech.
Exactly.
So you've never had anything happen that was unexplainable?
No, I've been to the most haunted city or town or whatever in the United States, which is Gettysburg. And we did the ghost hunt and all the other good shit. And I was rolling my eyes the whole entire goddamn time. I was just like, are you shitting me? People are actually believing this shit. And this guy had like this. He had essentially, it was a signal generator. I wouldn't know what it was until years later because I'm an electrical engineer now. So a lot of that shit, I'm just like, it's designed to go off like this. What the fuck? It means nothing.
You mean what? They set up like ghostly experiences?
No, not really. It's one of those things where a lot of things will set it off, or it's almost like I can set up a dummy one where I can get you false positives. Like you can point your reader at my dog, and for some reason it'll go off the charts. If anyone has a bad ground in their house, it'll create a signal, which then it'll see. So if you go through a town that's really old, none of the grounds are right. So you'll get them all over the goddamn place because there's cloth wire, there's bad grounds, there's shorts everywhere. So those electromagnetic waves are actually hitting everywhere, but it means nothing. It just means people from the 1930s were terrible electricians.
Yes.
Right. Or the wiring. We want to talk about like actual ghost stories. We're just talking about things we've had experiences where people may have interpreted them as ghost stories, but we use logical explanations for them.
Oh, okay. Well, yes, the other day I was at the gym and I saw this beast staring at me, and then I realized a couple minutes later it was just me.
Yeah. I hate when it happens.
What's that?
There's your dad joke of the day.
I got to do a bit of a shout out here, actually, because we're going to be closing this off anyways pretty soon. So,
I got my dinner.
I want to do a bit of a shout out for Scientist Mel because I became a patron of hers recently.
Did you?
Love Scientist Mel.
Yeah.
Yeah, did a video a few days ago on ghost hunting. So if any of you are interested in that sort of thing, like I used to be, I'd still do it, but I'd be doing it to debunk it. But she's got all the scientific explanations on how the equipment works, like Billy was just talking about.
Oh, what's his name?
And she has all the different scientific facts behind the whole ghost phenomenon and ghost hunting phenomenon. So if you're interested, I did put a link in the description below, and you can check that out. It's actually really good, and I highly recommend you check it out.
What's that guy called? Oscar guy.
Oscar? Are you talking about Oscar?
Yeah, the banana guy.
Yeah, Oscar Jungel.
Could you mention him and Mel doing a collab, busting that shit?
Another good ghost hunter is DDF Ghost Hunting. He's out of Berlin, I believe. He's an American, though. His name's Morton. He's a really cool guy. You should check him out if you want to check out ghost hunting.
What, does he actually go out and do this, or?
Yeah, he goes out and he's looking. He's never like, but he's not one of the ones that's like, oh, I seen something. It's a ghost. He's like, oh, there's some kind of phenomenon. Let's try to figure out what this is. You know. He doesn't think he's ever experienced anything paranormal. So he's more like a ghost hunter / debunker, I guess.
What do you guys make of this whole orb thing that you always hear about?
What orb?
Like an orb
of
like light?
These ghost shows, they'll often show, and even in Poltergeist, the original Poltergeist, they had it too.
You mean like on camera?
little orb things that are floating around. Yeah.
I think that's just like I think they were just like dust motes that are picking up light. That's the way it comes across to the camera, personally.
Sure. Because it can get
especially the old cameras where their shutter time is pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things
just,
will happen.
Or it could be just bullshit.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah.
Did you see? I finally did my first Patreon donation.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did it. Godless Island is my first Patreon donation person.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm becoming an adult. So hell yeah.
Dark matter.
We'll give you the adulting right award ribbon.
Little Billy's growing up so fast.
I know, that's what he said. He said little Billy Vader Tech is growing up so fast.
Well, yeah. Speaking of the Iowan,
Congratulations.
Mark here are officially married now, so
Yeah.
Yes.
congratulations.
It sucks it turned out the way it did. Yeah.
I'm just wishing I could have did it.
I'm sad I didn't get to go, but
yeah. When you said that today, I was like, what? I guess Artie couldn't do it.
Yeah, Artie was gonna pick me. So he had some shit going on, so he couldn't go. And then I just didn't have a vehicle to go, so it is what it is.
Shit, man! If I was able to go, I would have swung by and grabbed you.
Right, it's all right.
Yeah. What state do you live in besides confusion?
Oh, Illinois.
Besides confusion.
Yeah, I probably would have. I probably been able to pick you up too if I was able to make it because I'm in Delaware, so that's probably right on the way.
Yeah, they would be on the way if you were coming.
Yeah, but fuck driving all the way to fucking Iowa from Delaware. Holy fuck. That's gotta.
Yeah, but it would have been fun to be there.
Oh, yeah, it would have been a fucking blast.
Because imagine some of the other guys that we could have met there, like Engineer and Caitlin.
And
they're good people.
And Gray Skeptic is there. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
16-hour drive. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I think it's like a 16-day drive for me or some shit.
You're one state over.
From my state, but he lives all the way on the other side of Iowa, so it's like it would have been like 4.5, 5 hours to drive. So
that's not that bad,
but I didn't have transportation today, so
I didn't realize how far away Iowa was. Like, I am terrible at geography, so I'll just like
it's nowhere.
Like I'm over there like thinking it was near Dakotas.
Yeah, he's like, and he lives almost all the way on the western side of Iowa toward like the Missouri line, and
why?
I think what's the other state that would be close by there? Kansas or Nebraska?
No clue. Don't ask me. I failed all those tests in high school.
It's not coming to me. I know Kansas is nearby, but I know there's another state too. I can't remember what it would be though.
Yeah, I absolutely fail those tests all the time. Oh, by the way, washing that peanut butter out took me so long. Dude, it took me like 45 minutes. like even like the next couple of days, my beard still smelling like peanut butter.
You know what the best way to deal with that is, man?
What?
See, peanut butter has oil in it, so just light the shit on fire and regrow it.
No, I'm not gonna do that because I don't want to set my face on fire.
Yeah, burning faces are never fun. I've heard.
You gotta have a bucket of water standing by.
That's not how you put out an oil fire, shit, mate. That's a Class Bravo fire. You're gonna suffocate it, not spread it out.
I have burnt my beard once or twice. It's not pleasant.
Is that why you're never on camera?
No. I actually was on camera before you got here.
Oh, you look like the Phantom of the Opera, I guess.
I just look like me.
Oh, God.
Oh, man, Notch is saying that he's got a bunch of ghost stories that he could tell, too, but he can't make it in here right now.
Oh, that sucks. Fuck you, future man.
Future man? Upside down?
That's what I was called. I love you, though, brother. You know that.
Good old Notch. I don't think he's watching. Maybe he's just messaging.
No, he's not. He's not watching.
What a dickhole.
I still love him.
Who doesn't watch our live stream?
He's my favorite future person.
Well,
Oh, and I can't forget about Dave. I like Dave too. Grumpy old Dave.
oh, okay.
I haven't seen you around for a while. Then I haven't been around much.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
haven't.
Oh, it's nice to finally see you besides on Twitter.
Who?
Mr.
Grumpy.
Yeah, Grumpy.
Oh, okay.
I was lost for
Nah,
words.
he's overrated.
I was gonna say the old man. That's part of it too, isn't it?
Yeah, grumpy old bugger.
Yeah. So.
I'm kind of curtailed. I spend actually, funnily enough, I spend most of my time in here now because I work from home. This is my office.
I did have an interesting. I got a follower on Twitter today, and their name happened to be Secular Sobriety. And, you know, I'm recovered. I'm into recovery, and so I started talking to her, and she doesn't even know. Like she watches like the Atheist Experience, of course. She knows Jimmy or Mr. Atheist. I'm sorry, and a couple other people, but she hasn't never heard of like Godless. She's never watched Godless Engineer, Godless Island. Anybody like that, I'm like, oh man, I got so many people I need to introduce you to. So many people.
Yeah,
So
I hate to say it, but a lot of them are turning into an echo chamber.
Well,
I've kind of backed off.
Mo, you're not paying attention to what I'm doing.
what?
No, not what you're doing. A lot of the stuff I see was just into becoming an echo chamber, and everybody's saying the same thing. So I do my own thing. I do my own thing, right?
Well, to be fair, it's not really an echo chamber if you're really going out there and grabbing other people's ideas and then combating them. That's literally the opposite of an echo chamber.
No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you come back. It doesn't matter if you come back to the same idea you had originally, as long as you're hearing both sides of the argument and coming to the understanding objectively.
Yeah. No, it seems like it's always the same. All right, same thing, same people saying the same thing over and over again, which is one of the reasons why, like I said, I stepped back and started to do my own thing. And once
Right, it does get old. Sometimes it gets old after a while. I mean, hearing the same thing over and over again. But I mean, I like it. I like bringing new people into the community. That's what I like about us.
More and more new people. Definitely more new people.
Yeah, and shit. Godless Island and Cirrus just had a stream about it. About how you have to do more than just atheist content type thing.
Right.
So I've got a funny story.
I still want to. I'm looking there. Go on. Go with your funny story.
I just thought of a funny story. It's not really so much like spooky as it was just uncomfortable. But back in my early 20s, I hung out with a group of friends in Myrtle Beach, and there was a guy that hung out with us that I did not like. He was very cool with a couple of people, and I couldn't figure out why, because he was like, on multiple occasions, he'd gone into girls' rooms. He'd gone into girls' rooms while they were sleeping and tried to diddle with them and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And to one point where I actually tried to whip his ass for it, and like 3 or 4 of my friends had stopped me from doing it. Like, I did not like this kid. And I'm sitting at my friend's house, and we're drinking beer and doing what we do, a couple of lines, whatever. And he came up, and I was like, I can't stand that kid. I don't like him. I just don't like him. He's a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And I went on this like 12-minute rant about how I thought this guy was a piece of shit. I finished talking. As I finished talking, the phone rang. My buddy picked up the phone, answered it, said yeah a couple of times, hung the phone up, and they said the guy that I was just talking about had killed himself.
Whoops.
Wow, that is crazy.
Careful what you wish for.
Yep.
I had when I was younger, I was probably like 21 or 22. I used to party with these kids that lived like in a town over from me, but they were from another county. And one night they broke into a bar and stole a bunch of booze, and they brought a bunch of it back and left it at the house we were partying at. It was like our party house. Everybody always partied there. We called it the mansion. Well, anyway, they left all the booze there, and that night they shortly after they left the house we were at partying, they got hit by a fucking semi head on, and they both died. I was like, holy shit, that is so weird. You know, like I like, and the guy asked me if I had any weed, if I'd get him high. I wonder to this day, you know, if I would have took the time to like get that guy high, would he be alive right now? You know, the extra 10 minutes or whatever. But you know, that's kind of spooky.
Yeah,
It's not in a ghost kind of way. It's just kind of sad, actually.
yeah, that happens.
Yeah, I got one more person who wants to jump in and tell a story, so I'm going to send her a message. She's in the chat right now.
Is that unholy?
No,
not even following.
I'm just seeing people with weird names.
Hang on.
I need a haircut. That's my ghost story for the day.
You need a beard cut.
No, I don't. Fuck you, fake news. Dude, I like looking homeless. Hey, do you want to know something fucking awesome? So today, I have a tire that's fucking leaking, and it's really goddamn annoying that every morning I have to go put air into it. So I decided to not be a complete piece of shit and buy a new one. So I went on Amazon. I bought one because it said it was going to be here by Friday. And then I get my delivery notification. He's going to be here on Monday. So what I do is then I call Amazon saying you guaranteed it was going to be here by Friday. The lady says, I'm not going to cancel your order, but I'm also refunding your order. So I got a free fucking tire.
Woo!
It's $130.
You still have to wait until Monday?
Oh, I still have to wait till Monday, but you know,
if you would have got a Friday, that would have been the ultimate win.
Oh my god! If it does come in on Friday, man, it'd be a double win, man.
I buy while we're just sitting here bullshitting about nothing. I wanted to know, does anybody want to do a superhero stream sometime with me? Like talk about
Yes.
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 Comics in the early 80s. Sorry, late 70s.
I also wouldn't mind doing a Star Trek stream if anybody's into
that.
I'm out.
I'm out. I don't care about Star Trek at all.
All right.
Okay.
We're going nerd here.
Nobody's perfect.
I'm a nerd. I can't help it.
I have Star Wars tattoos. I think I have a lot of nerd cred.
I have an almost encyclopedic knowledge of Marvel comics until about 1998.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, me too.
Like, maybe we could do like the pros and cons of DC and Marvel or something. Like do a comparison.
Who is the worst?
Who's
the worst Marvel superhero?
Oh, good lord!
Shit.
Hawkeye.
I don't know.
Hawkeye.
Oh, he's not.
In the comic books, yes, he is.
I think
in the movies he's great, but in the comic books,
he's just in love with the guy who plays him.
Gambit is a little cheesy.
He is handsome.
Hawkeye, isn't he the poor man's Green Arrow?
Yes.
Yeah, he is the poor man's Green Arrow. Yeah, he sucks. That's what he does. In the comic books, he sucks. In the movies, he's great. But in the comic books, he sucks.
Can we all talk about how the Hawk is just a ripoff of Mr. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
What?
It is sort of. I never really thought about that.
It is a blatant ripoff. It's just what we are scared of now versus what they were scared of then. They were scared of medicine then, and now we're scared of nuclear power.
I'd call it more of a homage than a ripoff. I mean, they choose to.
Marvel's very good at ripping shit off. Thor is straight up a rip.
Oh, no kidding.
It's just like, Greek or freaking Nordic god.
Greek gods as well, don't forget.
Oh, no. DC did the same fucking thing. DC has a whole fucking line of people that they use all of those gods. I mean, it's like...
I am feeling your whataboutism right now, but
it's not whataboutism. It's a fact of the
you know what?
matter.
I really don't give a fuck about DC or Marvel. If you want really good comics, you got to have Dan Dare, the dandy, with Corky the cat.
I don't know.
If you want really good comics, you're reading The Preacher.
You guys,
period.
Hold on. Preacher's pretty good, actually. Hold on.
Yes, sir. Jesse Custer's a bad motherfucker. Huh?
We have someone new into the stream here. It's the Dragon Queen who was in the comments or in the comment section before.
Yeah.
And she has told me that she has a story that she would like to share, which we've kind of gotten off track of. So
A little bit.
We were just kidding. Yeah.
And
The floor is yours, my lady.
Thank you very much. How was everyone tonight?
Horrible.
I'm so good that they should outlaw it.
He's also lying.
All right, I got 2 stories. One is a ghost story based on my sister and my nieces, and one is an evangelical crap story. All right, start with a ghost story that my sister has had a ghost seemingly follow her because, especially in the house that she lives in now, her 4-year-old sees this ghost and actually gave it the name John Douglas, and she constantly tells my sister whenever she starts going off on something, she goes, "Mommy, you better stop that. He don't like you." And like cabinets open, doors open, and all kinds of crap goes on in their house that at random times. Do you need an exorcism?
That or a carpenter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both. All right. And then for the other story. So I'm at a convention and I'm dressed as Mario. I'm waiting for my ride outside. And there's evangelical people outside. You know how they protest shit.
Mhm.
Well, all of a sudden this lady calls out to me and she goes, Mario, oh my goodness, you look so good. Your costume's great. And then she comes up and gets real close to my ear and goes, "Have you heard that Jesus loves you today?"
Oh, jeez.
And yeah, so there was actually a guy in Metrocon dressed as Jesus, but he talked like the Mad Hatter. Like, I said hi to him and he goes, "Oh, peace be unto you, Mario." Yep. So in Mario's voice, I told her, "Oh yes, I talk to Jesus all the time. In fact, why don't you go in there and you talk to him?" And then I walked away.
That's hilarious. I knew a guy that lived at one of my properties once that was insane. He had been let out of the insane asylum to try to like put him back into society, but he was convinced that he was God.
Oh God.
And I worked with a guy named Martin, who was from Mexico. And so this guy walks up to Martin in front of all of us, and he introduces himself. He goes, "Hi, what's your name?" And Martin goes, "I'm Martin." And he says, "Hi, I'm Jesus. You know, God."
Wow.
And Martin goes, "Oh, it's good to meet you, Jesus. I have so many questions from you." It was beautiful.
That's awesome.
It's probably the best answer to a out of the fucking left field question I've ever heard.
I'd have been like, "So why am I still drinking water? Like, do something."
It's like, turn it into wine, bitch. Either
Yeah,
that
or
or
I'm
do
calling I'm calling Dionysus. He'll do a much better job.
Hell yeah, Dionysus is fucking awesome.
Oh, he didn't
he's
just
not-
turn
thunder on his
a
ass.
little bit. He turned springs into wine, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, he's not the risen macho man Randy Savage, but he'll do it in a pinch.
Oh yeah.
Oh, how did you fucking sneak wrestling into here?
I don't
Dude,
know. I say next subject.
The risen
Yeah,
macho
no
man
kidding.
Randy Savage is my sovereign fucking Lord and Savior.
Well,
Okay,
your Lord and
then.
Savior means as much as to me as Jesus. So next topic.
I actually had a coworker
shut
that
up.
yeah, I had a coworker that she actually used to work at the Tampa International Airport at one of the restaurants. She said that she used to serve Randy Savage all the time. She said he was such a nice man. He had such pretty blue eyes. It's a shame that he passed away.
Oh,
Wait, did he die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's been dead, bro.
Oh, okay. I don't watch WWE.
Yeah, I know.
My house has a foundation.
My question for Duke is: if Randy Savage is your Lord and Savior, is are Slim Jims your communion?
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I just wanted
So
to know
everybody
that.
lines
Now we-
up. Everybody puts on leotards. They line up. They get on their knees. We have a Slim Jim.
Puts on leotards.
And then we all practice. And then we all practice our celestial flying elbows from the top rope.
I think he just
instead Instead of amen, you say, "Oh yeah."
That's right.
Are you sure? Are you sure you're not confusing that with some kind of show tune? Show?
No, not
Are
confusing.
you sure? I must admit,
I'm
it
pretty
sounds
sure.
rather. It's sounding pretty camp to me.
No. I don't know
I mean,
any show tunes
it's sounding very camp to me.
I don't know any show tunes where the
you're
top
in
phrase
leotards.
is,
You're going to your knees.
Stop fantasizing.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry, but it's really camp.
Stop fantasizing. Listen, I know. It's okay.
It's camp to the point where even the camp people are going, no, too camp.
Nah, you get slapped with the Holy Spirit, Jim.
Yeah.
I get it. Sometimes you have strange emotions that you can't explain. You got to think about it for a little while. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here for you.
I mean,
yeah, but I'm not
the chokehold for a very long time.
It's just a little bit camp.
Anyway,
it's a lot camp.
All right, I have a question for Kim.
Yep.
I'm assuming you're an atheist, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm surprised I haven't come across you with all the dragon stuff too, because I'm a huge fan of dragons as well. My other channel, I'm actually named after one of the 4 elemental dragons.
Ooh, awesome.
Cyrus or whatever. But that's a gaming channel.
Well, I kind of sort of recently changed my name because, like, the way I came up with it is like it's my Renaissance Festival alter ego, so to speak.
Cool.
Society for Creative Anachronism. The Society for Creative Anachronism.
I haven't been a part of it, but I always see them there, and also at conventions that I go to.
Right. I was sort of associated with them years ago.
Anyways, Kim, I will. I'm not sure how many of the other folks that are in this stream that you have met before. I don't know.
Not me. Lucky poor girl.
Yeah, I don't think we've met. Hello, I'm Mole.
Nice to meet you.
And there's a slew of people in our little circle. So welcome to it. And by the way, my normal shows on this channel are deconversion stories. So if you have one you'd like to share, I can send you some time slots that I still have available in November and December.
Nice. That sounds pretty cool, but like I don't technically have like a deconversion story, so to speak. I just kind of like fell out of it, more or less.
Yeah, that's not right.
It's like growing up, I just wasn't into it full-heartedly. Like, I just kind of went along with the crowd. I'm like, oh, this is it. But then, like, as I grew up, I just kind of like, nah, it doesn't gel for me.
Kind of like still like having a boyfriend that you're like, yeah, okay, and after a while, you just stop calling and seeing each other.
Yeah, just like my ex did to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through that myself right now.
But you're not bitter, are you? You're not bitter.
Oh, not in the slightest. I just wish he jumped headfirst into the volcano where he lives.
Wait, he lives in a volcano?
Well,
Talk about living
Hawaii.
dangerously.
Yeah, he lives in Hawaii.
And those wings in your picture are fantastic, by the way.
Thanks. That's actually a chair at the Renaissance Festival, and I had to get a picture of it.
I've always wanted to go to a Renaissance fair. I love like medieval type stuff. Like I watched like Gladiatoria and like Lindy Beige and stuff like that. But what I was going to say was, I'm sorry for all of you guys like having romantic troubles. I myself lost my girlfriend about a month ago, and you know they say how in springtime they say love is in the air. Well, fall must be the time for fucking breakups. Like it must be the opposite, like hate is in the air or something.
Mine was springtime.
Or apathy maybe is a better word than hate.
Usually it's the other way around, man. Usually it's the fall winter time when people couple together, and in the springtime, love gives, and then people split.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's statistically.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I just always remember that spring love is in the air kind of thing.
It's
Yeah.
just another one of those weird ass fantasies.
There ain't too much love in the air the last couple months I've had. So fall must be haters in the air.
Along with the pollen.
Yeah. Yeah, and then my arthritis kicks in. Fuck. That's fun. I've never had it in my shoulder before. This is the first year it's ever popped into my shoulder.
The joys of getting older.
I was going to say,
Luckily, I'm not there yet.
welcome to my world. You're all going to be here where I am soon.
Yeah,
very, very soon.
I think Duke might be a little younger than me, but we're about the same age. We're both about 4. I'm 41. You're what, 40, Duke?
40.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so uninvolved. I'm chatting with a beautiful woman, so I'm in the midst of two things at once.
I would much rather chat with a beautiful woman than you two, Duke, personally. So it's cool. I don't think it is.
I can be. I'm only a beautiful woman on Saturdays.
Oh, is that when you put on your best party dress?
Yes, sir, and my pumps.
Hey, Duke, talking about, are you? Do you work the rest of the week in the morning?
It's a good question. The sad thing about that is that with my I'm not working at the hospital until Sunday, but with my other job, like, he's really here and there. Like, sometimes I'll go in at 9 and I'll work until noon. Sometimes I'll go in at 9 and I'll work until midnight. Like, I have no idea. Like, it just depends. Like, today we thought we were going to have a short day and I'm working until 6 o'clock at night. So just hit me up if you want to talk about something.
Well, no, I was just gonna. I was thinking about doing you know how I do morning coffee in the news sometimes streams. I was just wondering, I might have one later this week. See if you're going to be around.
Just hit me up in the morning, and I'll let you know if I'm available. If not, like the last one you did, I think that I was on was the morality stream, and I just did it while I was at work. So it's not a problem for me to jump in. Just shoot me a link, and if I can jump in, I will, and if I can't, then I won't.
That's fine. I streamed this morning. It was a pretty good stream. It wasn't nothing in particular. We just talked. It was just whatever. You know, there was no subject at all, really, to be honest with you. It was just people talking, chatting. And Sir is driving. He did a lot of that. He was on the stream on his way to fucking Iowa from Georgia.
Sorry, baby. I just made my dog jump.
Oh, did you?
She's sleeping right next to me, so I just reached down to give her a little pat, and she literally just jumped to her feet. She's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Hey, my baby. Unfortunately, I gotta get to bed because I got a 6 a.m. shift.
Oh yeah, I'm up at 4. So yeah.
Yeah, I got an early start tomorrow. Got to catch that early freight.
Yeah, it's only 7 for us, you dude. Like you live like right near me, and it's only 7 o'clock here. So.
Yeah, I know, and I get up at fucking 5 o'clock in the morning to deal with East Coast people. So fuck you.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Thanks for letting me join, everybody. It was nice meeting you all.
Nice to meet you too, Kim. Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah.
Good night.
Right. Good night.
Later.
Well, I guess we'll call it quits then, guys, because I should go and pay my buddy downstairs a quick visit and drink the rest of my beer anyways, and eat with all his leftover Halloween coffee or candy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I probably ought to go too. So I bid you all a fun to do, and I will see you later.
you betcha, Molly. Thanks for jumping in, guys. See you, dude.
Later,
Thanks
buddy.
for jumping in. Go and chat up your pretty lady there, buddy. And Grumpy, thank you too, brother.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Nobody
you bet.
appreciates you, dude.
5 o'clock, you said? 5 p.m.?
Yeah, 5-ish, whatever. I'll be there
Keisha,
probably close to that.
Yeah, Keisha Popo, right?
Yeah, in Ironwood.
I know it. Right off the Stevenson and the highway.
Yep, you betcha.
Yeah, I know it. I used to eat there all the time. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, I'll catch you all later. You have a good one.
You guys are great. Love you both. I love you both. I know I fuck with you a lot, Grumpy, but I'm very fond of you.
I was going to say, Dukas, fuck you.
I know, and I will if I'm ever given the opportunity. I will.
Yeah, but you got to remember. You got to remember, mate. I'm the pitcher. You're the catcher.
Oh, that's okay. I'm fine with that. You can push my legs right behind my shoulders. It's fine.
Not a problem.
Oh boy!
Love you guys.
That note,
Good night, all. Talk to you all.
Good night.
Talk to you all tomorrow.
Good night.
Thanks everyone for tuning in for tonight's unusual episode. And don't forget, I did post a link down below to Mel's ghost hunting video. So go check that out. It's really, really cool. Really well done. And earlier in the comments, people were talking about how Mel should probably have her own Netflix show like Bill Nye the Science Guy. And I totally agree. And this is why I have become a patron. Anyways, Grumpy, we'll see you tomorrow, sir. And we will